everyone. Welcome back to the Spa Sisters podcast with myself, Carly Chamberlain, and my co-host, Julie Wren. A reminder for you all why we're here and why we do this. We're in this will be our 5th season now, so it's flying. But let's bring it back to what we're here for, and that is for the therapists out there in the spa industry, the independent therapists, the practitioners, the holistic therapists, the beauty therapists, the whole scope of people who love our industry but want a bit of inspiration and motivation. We're here to engage, disrupt, and transform the therapist experience. If you want to know more, reach out on our social channels at Spa Sisters Podcast or email spasisterspodcast@gmail.com. Today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Sunita Passy. She's an author, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and we can't wait to get into this interview. Julie, take it away.
Thank you so much, and welcome, Sunita.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. I mean, for the last 16 years, your business Tridosha has really dominated the Ayurvedic space in the spas. And as an accredited program for therapists, I'd love to know a bit more about it, because I mean, you were doing this, way before the fact that Ayurveda was popular with the consumer like it is now. So as well, I mean, I'd like to know as well is, how do you navigate your business, I mean, through the recent surge of popularity in Ayurveda? And, and how does a therapist know the difference as well, and also the public, between, an authentic offering as opposed to those people who kind of just jump on the bandwagon or might not have the qualifications? So if you could sort of frame that for us, so that our therapists really know about what it is that you wanted to bring for therapist education.
It's a great question. So if I backtrack, I actually started off life in journalism, and this took me all over the world. I was working in many different countries, and to sort of support my health, you can say, I started to bring in mindfulness, meditation, yoga, and various practices, various holistic practices. And that is really what ignited my fire, towards this holistic wellness and towards this world. My company actually sent me to India, and that's where I got connected to Ayurveda. Though we also have a story in my family that my grandfather was a practitioner. That's another story for another time. And so initially I was having the treatments, I was involved in the practices, I was developing my own personal practice and really feeling the benefits. So when I developed Tridosha, and Tridosha is a Sanskrit word, tri means 3, dosha is body type, and there's 3 body types, literally meaning balance. It was all about really making Ayurvedic wellness accessible, for promoting it for consumer engagement, but also specifically developing the academy for therapists. Because in my mind, I just felt if other people are to experience the positive transformations that come from the tools within this health system, we need to get the tools into the therapist's hands, because they're the bridge. And so initially in 2005, I developed our training program. All of our training courses are accredited. We're accredited with the Federation of Holistic Therapists. And we've been teaching those courses now. So since 2005, and the product development didn't start until 2008. So when we look at Tridosha, it's an ecosystem. Where we're able to facilitate the training programs for independent therapists, freelance therapists. And then we also have what I call the method now, where we're able to integrate our products, and we've developed spa experiences. So we started to move into spas in 2008. And the spas that we actually work with are holistic spas, and they are particularly looking for an authentic offering. And I think, it's important so I think what we really do well is we emphasize our years of accredited training, really focus on highlighting our expertise and experience. Everyone in our company is qualified in a therapy discipline of some sort. I'm a fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner. And so and really we're encouraging our partners to think about what it is they're looking for in an Ayurvedic partner. Do they want to be aligned to somebody who's delivering authentic training, accredited training, or are they looking for something that's off trend, which is also fine as well? You know, they're both opportunities, and it really depends on where your business is aligned. So that's sort of us in a nutshell, I'd say.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So if a therapist was looking to take a course, how long is the actual training for them, the training time?
So when they come and train with us, they will already, so our courses are considered post-grad or advanced courses. So they'd already come to us qualified in their basic anatomy and physiology and a basic massage certificate. And then they have there's 3 tiers. So our institute, you can complete the 5-day Ayurvedic bodywork course, Ayurvedic massage and therapies, and that's 5 days, pretty full on days. We then also, if you wanted to move further into the body, into more the deeper techniques, we also deliver a guided meditation training program, and that takes place over, it's 3 online sessions, and then they have some case studies, and then and then they're also, in order to receive their certification for that course, they then also have to deliver a session for us. And then this year we also launched, our 2-day breathwork program, and that's been interesting, because therapists that engage in that program are really wanting to start to integrate the bodywork with more deep healing and supporting their clients in that way. So we're taking the clients, sort of unraveling those layers and giving the therapist the tools to start to work more deeply into the client's body.
So I heard the word there, post-grad. So I'm very curious, because I know that you work closely with Nottingham University. So can you tell me a little bit more about how that really is mutually benefiting your businesses and also the students as well?
Nottingham Trent University. So that's I'm an alumni of Nottingham Trent. I actually, I feel so ancient. I did my master's there over 20 years ago in investigative journalism. So I have a relationship with them as an alumni. And and then over the years, we've started to get involved with their MSc students. So we actually support the MSc students by giving them a project within our business, a research project, which they complete over a 3-month period, and then they present that to us. And that's been, it's great both ways, because it gives the students industry exposure and mentorship and guidance. And also we're receiving research that we're able to give them a project, and they're able to, a group of 6 or 7 students is able to have a look specifically at that project and then show us their findings. So it's very much a win-win. And the other way that I'm involved is also as a mentor. So I do mentor students for Nottingham Trent University. And I just know personally, over the years, I've benefited from personal growth programs, and have, every year I'll invest in some sort of personal self-development program. And I also have a mentor myself. So personally, I've experienced how important it is. And I think I've reached that point in life where I have the time to also give back and support others. And, hopefully that gives the student more fresh perspectives, more ideas about sort of working life. And what I do find that with the students I work with, it very much, the sessions tend to focus more on them understanding more about themselves, what their value system is and what their strengths are and their weaknesses are. So it's a process.
Do you do this mentoring as well for the holistic therapists, or is this just for the university therapists?
So this specific mentoring is for the university students. We've trialed different programs for the therapists. I guess it's therapists are so busy, you know, they're multitasking. So independent therapists they're delivering their treatments, they're delivering their sessions 60% of their time in order for them to have the client base is spent on marketing, as you guys would know. So, you know, they have to really manage their weeks well and their days well in order to get that footfall of clients. And so with the therapists, what we've done is we've developed some online marketing programs, which we've run live as live webinars, which means that then we can have a group of therapists and then they're recorded and then they can follow back. Personal mentoring, haven't done it yet. I think it's a brilliant idea. I just know at this stage of 16 years of teaching therapists that it's also time and also how we would build that into our offering for the therapists. But one of the things that I'm really keen for us to look at next year is really how we can potentially develop our own platform to connect clients with therapists. So we do have a map, so you can go on to, if you want to connect with one of the therapists that's trained with us, you can go onto that map, you can put your postcode in and you can see who your local therapist trained by Tridosha is. And these are holistic therapists. They're heart-centered, they've got a wellness-focused lifestyle. So there's a particular energy about these therapists. And at the moment we do list them, but I feel that there's another stage where we can be supporting them and actually bring the clients, connect the clients to them. So I think I feel like that's something that we need to put more energy into and understand whether it's viable.
So I think kind of that pops into your next question.
You've answered the last two questions I was going to ask you already. So obviously you provide so many tools for therapists, not just for treatment and training, but obviously business skills as well. So really, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs in the spa and wellness space, obviously who wish for their skills and talents to be out there, seen, acknowledged, in order for them to run a successful business, aside of all the courses and support you offer? Tell me your thoughts and your words of what you would advise them on a bigger,
and how to scale. Personally, having been, if I look back at my journey now, I'm an introvert, so I'm not 100%, but I'm if that's the middle, I'm sort of just here. And so I've really had to work on myself to show up. I don't find it's not necessarily something I find terribly easy, but I've pushed myself out of the zone, and I think in life, we're surrounded by extroverts. We're surrounded by people who are, able to show up. They might not necessarily have the education or the credibility, but, with the onset of social media, the way that it is, you can develop an incredible platform. And hey, presto, you've got lots of followers. You've got people coming in to understand more about the work that you do. So I think what I've seen with therapists is we're a little bit shyer. We don't necessarily show up in the world in that way. So what we have to do is focus on our gifts and our strengths. And I feel education is key in that, the more educated you are, the more you can hold your space, because that's your credibility. And, when you have those qualifications, that's something that's completely unique to you. And I would also suggest that, you need to build a strong foundation as well in your field. So get out and network, take part in the competitions that are available. So I'm a judge of the National Massage Championships, 5 years running now. That's a great platform to get your name out there. So people get to know you, you get to connect with other therapists. I also am a judge of the Shine Your Light Awards. It's wonderful to be nominated for that award as well, because again, it says what it says on the title. it's literally shining a light on those individuals that are sharing their hearts with the world. And so I think you have to remain innovative, and you also have to take marketing seriously and put effort into it. And what I've found is, you know, is a great deal of therapists focus on the delivery of their treatments, but not the marketing, and not actually how they show up in the world in a commercial sense. And to be successful, you do need to integrate the two. And if if that's not your comfort zone, then there's plenty of help out there. You know, if you can connect with your local college, you can connect with your local university, and you'll be amazed. There's internships that are being offered. There's local funding that's available, but you need to sign up with the newsletters. You know, you need to know what's going on locally. It's very easy to say, I don't have a budget for this, I don't have the skills, I can't do this, I can't do that. But you know, if success is, you need resilience, absolutely, and you need passion in what you're doing, but you do need a professional strategy in order to get out.
Yeah, and one step at a time as well, for those that might be a bit overwhelmed by all the avenues they could look through, you know, just taking those small steps and not overwhelming your diary and yourself. That's a nice sort of link to a quote that you wrote in an article a few years ago. And you said, "My goal is to assist people in spending more time in love with their life and less time struggling with the hurdles that get in the way." What a beautiful thing to say. Tell me what that means. How is that related to you and your business? Yeah, go for it.
Well, if we go back to my business, I definitely started it for philosophical reasons. You know, I wanted to change the way the world looked at well-being. I wanted to put the tools and techniques in people's hands. And so this is how you start. This is often how a therapist or a practitioner, it comes from the heart, and they want to get as many people connected, you know, to those tools. And I was no different. So things moved and things get up and running, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, you've got a business that you've got to manage, and then you've got to learn how to grow it and scale it, and really understand as you move forward who is your audience, you know, and who is aligned to the values of the business. So when I wrote that, I think that was a good 10 years ago. I was still in that butterfly sort of, you know, place where, what did John Lennon say? You know, the world evolves around love. And I truly, I believe that. But in order to unplug people from all the stresses and the strains that we're feeling on a daily basis, we also, we need to be practicing these incredible techniques. And I know both of you are familiar and practice mindfulness, breath work, so many of the beautiful techniques that we have in holistic wellness. And when I look at the therapists, so I think one of the things that is a challenge for holistic wellness therapists is that they are in this space continually. And if you look at this from a more sort of academic way, there's the work of an author, philosopher called Ken Wilber. And Ken Wilber actually talked about the 4 different states of consciousness. And he said there's 4 states, and he said the first state is 1%, and that's your what did he call them? He called them the egocentric. Yes, the egocentric, where it's all about the self. So that's your your gang. That's very self-motivated people who will use other people to get what they want. The next level is ethnocentric. That's 70%, and that's the majority of people actually. And this is where they're nice to you, but they only really like people who are familiar to them. So so they stick with who they know, what they know. We can see this across the board. We see this with politicians, we see this with leaders, we see this on the street. It's where you're really only going to interact with people that feel familiar. So that's 70%. then we've got another level, which is world centric. So that's 27%. That's where, and that's beautiful. That's a nice, that's where now reaching a state where you truly love all human beings. And that's, that's a good state of consciousness. And then we have cosmocentric, which is 2%. And I would suggest that many of the therapists, practitioners, certainly those on the holistic path, are within this 2%. And so they are not just connected to all human beings, they care about plants, they care about the world that we're living in, the animals, the generations that are still to come, and they're thinking about this all the time. So it's quite something when you think about that energy, and that is an energy. Love is an energy. So that's what they're feeling all the time. So you can imagine why they're probably not so great at marketing, because that's not where their energy is going. Their energy is, how can I better save the world and serve the world? But the good news is more of us are moving into that category. As the world becomes more conscious, more self-aware, more of us are really starting to think about the bigger picture and actually what the world looks like, as we move forward.
Fabulous. Yeah. Well, I can really feel that this is the energy behind Tridosha.
Yeah. And you have so many sort of fingers in many different pies, good pies, obviously. And what is going to be your main focus for 2024?
Well, we're growing as a team, which is very exciting. So it's a time we've got a lot of transition going on. We've been sitting still. I've been back at school this year as well, which I think I told you both. And I've been on a business course with the university here in Nottingham, and we're really reaching that stage where now we want to move forward with a very clear strategy. So how are we and there's been a bit of a change in the way that we're going to be moving forward. We are going to take Tridosha out into retail now, so we're going to be running some pop-ups with John Lewis, which is very exciting, but that also enables us to have a wider connection with consumers, and the intention there is to really promote that consumer engagement. So then they may become interested in our webinars, they may become interested in our books, and it's kind of like bringing them in. We've got our neem range, which is our natural range, which we're talking to various partners about that and how we're going to grow that range. We're online, which and doing well there, and so that's great news. And then just my personal platform, my second book comes out next year. And that's it's called the Tridosha Method. So it's an integration of all the work we've been doing over these 16 years, and it's also going to highlight a lot of the great work that therapists are doing. So I really wanted the book to acknowledge therapists that come and train with us, also the spas that partner with us, and the work that they're delivering and how they're connecting with clients. So it's a consolidation and an overview of all of that.
Sounds like a busy year ahead.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It feels the time feels right now, Julie. I think we've gone through such a shift the last few years since we've all come out of lockdown, and it feels like the right time now, that more people are aligned with our vision and mission for the business, and just our endeavors, and the different things that we've been working on over these years. And I also passionately believe we need to get the tools in as many people's hands as possible, because once you bring that practice in, once you have a personal practice, it literally can shift your day in a second. And it can make such a difference to your nervous system, to the relationships that you're having, the life, the way that you're experiencing your life. And I do also feel very strongly that the therapists that train with us, they're an untapped workforce, because they're kind of hidden, and I think whatever we can do to to raise awareness of the good work that they're doing, then that's what we need to do. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Sunita.
Thank
That was
you.
a
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
great insight to your world. So thank you. And you can find all of our episodes on YouTube. Like I said before, connect with us on Sparse Sisters podcast on all our social channels. And if you have any questions, email us sparsisterspodcast@gmail.com. Julie, anything to add before we leave?
No, just a big thank you and wishing you lots of success for your 2024.
Thank you.